Hey guys, welcome to another Anime Kingdom discussion and review. This one is on Fate Stay Night Unlimited The Blade Works episode 4. And I mean, week's episode was like literally super intense, crazy ass fighting. This episode, it wasn't as much, but I still enjoyed it. It had a lot of different things. Like for instance, the beginning had, talking about with Ilya and how she pretty much, obviously she wants. I'm guessing she wants to. She's gonna put her revenge on Kiritsu onto Shiro instead. So that's pretty interesting. So we get a little bit like compared to Fate Stay Night, the original. You don't really have any connections between that. You know, too much. You don't. They don't really show the connections. And this one they do a lot more. After that, it's pretty much this episode was more of Saber fitting in with Sakura and Fujini, Fuji, learning, they're gonna be all living together pretty much now and getting used to Shido and Saber. Saber talking about, of course, she can't tell Shido who she really is. She can't tell her name, and pretty much Shido's okay with that because there's a chance that people could read his mind or something. Saber said, and that's why she doesn't want to tell him. Which usually you tell your master who you are so they can plan and stuff. But he's mediocre mage at best, so yeah. We also get to see Rin. You know, she's pretty much getting really. She's like, you can tell she's mad and she's like wants to pretty much fight. Caster, because Caster's the one who's doing all those gas leak kill things. And we also got to see a little bit of her like pretty much destroying these skeleton dinosaur things or something like that. And it's pretty badass considering what what lacked in the Fate Stay Night, the first series, the original, was that there wasn't as much, showing the mages fight. It was all about the servants, which is good and all. But yeah, just like last week's episode, Rin versus Ilya, and this week we got to see Rin acting like a badass, and right when that big one came down, like boom, it was pretty badass to be honest. And there's not really much for me to say about this episode. I really enjoyed the fact that they had like the Ilya about Shido thing. They're trying to fit in Saber with everything else, and of course Sakura, you could tell she's getting jealous. And at first, when Fuji said that she could, stay, Saber can stay with Shido, she was like, because obviously Sakura has, like Shido. But then, of course, Fuji and Sakura are going to be living with them now. So that's a little, interesting. And, of course, I wonder how, if you don't know, obviously, like, how is it going to affect everything? Because, Saber and Shido are in the war, and Sakura and Fuji are just there, and that could be dangerous for them, right? So we'll have to see on that. We'll also, you know, get to see how Rin and Archer will be handling Caster and who's Caster's master. And yeah, I cannot wait for that, the next episode, because it's probably going to be Caster and Archer fighting, maybe. I would think, because they're talking about it. Rin's going to go for it. So we get to see Caster, and, we'll get to see a different kind of fight, considering what we've been seeing is Lancer versus Archer. Melee, Berserker, Saber, Archer, Saber, and it's pretty much just these melee kind of things. Caster is like literally the only one that's not using like a sword or any kind of weapon like that. It's magic. That's why she's a caster. So I can't wait to see next week's episode, because so far what they've been doing is action. We get a little bit of more information, things going on and stuff. Then action, and then back to that. So next week's episode, if it's following the trend, should be some crazy action, and I cannot wait for that, because, like I said before, these action scenes in Fate Stay Night so far have been just insane, and just, oh man, I cannot wait. And as always, guys, this is a discussion as well, so comment below what you thought about the episode. Did you find it kind of lackluster? Did you still enjoy it? I know it didn't have as much action. That's why I still enjoyed it, but I don't know about you. If you have any questions that you want to ask me about the episode, as long as it's not about anything spoiling, because I don't want to spoil anyone in the comments or anything. If you want to talk about it, then you can also message me and we can talk a little bit about it if you have any questions on it. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Until next week's episode, which is probably action packed. See you guys.